Well, hello, Dirtfish Rally friends. It's round 5 of the 2023 FIA World Rally Championship. It is the Rally de Portugal, David. It's one really that everyone looks forward to. It's our first time on gravel back on mainland Europe. Just always a great event.
Absolutely, Colin. Traditionally it is the start of the gravel season. It's the start of the European season, because back in the day you would have Monty, Sweden,
Mexico.
Safari.
Back in the day. Way back in the day.
And then here.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it doesn't matter. You know, whether it's the start of seven gravel rallies, whatever. It's Portugal.
It is Portugal.
It's all that matters, and it's an absolute hotbed of rallying.
And it's really, you know, it's part of the reason that we've come here to this point, because it really demonstrates beautifully just how passionate they are, David, in this part of the world for rallying. Yes, we went down to the Algarve, and it was great. And
no, it wasn't.
It was great in some ways. You know, the stages were good. The stages were enjoyable, but you know, the heart of rallying. No, that's it. The heart is here. It always has been here, and they show it with things like this. This tribute to Colin.
Everywhere that you go, we're in the fast stage. You probably knew that, but we're not far from Arganil. You know, these kind of places, Fafe, Arganil, Sintra, they are absolutely synonymous, aren't they, with the 70s, 80s, 90s?
Could be. They're just they're legends. You know, we've got legendary drivers, legendary stages, legendary parts of the country, and it's just all evocative.
It is, and sorry to interrupt again, Carl, but you go into Arganil, everybody knows the rally's on, everybody knows a little bit of history, and it just. There's certain places we're fortunate enough to go to in the year. We go to Finland, we used to go to Argentina, we come here. These places live and breathe our sport.
They do. By the way, if you want to know a little bit more about the history of Arganil, David did a very good video. It's on our YouTube channel. A couple of years ago, you told me some great facts. Facts about, who was it? The famous manager? No, it wasn't the famous manager. It was about Carlos Sainz. Just up here. Click the link at that way. Click the link up there, and you can have a look at that video. Carlos Sainz. What was the fact I learned on that day trip out with you?
It was the fact that he was a former former Spanish squash champion. Was that it, or did he had a trial for Real Madrid?
Real Madrid. The squash, I didn't know, but there we go. Have a look at that video, folks. David, let's talk about this event. This coming event this week. The championship is in the most remarkably healthy position in terms of the fight at the top. You know, Elfyn Evans, it is unfortunate that he takes the lead of the championship just ahead of one of the most punishing events in terms of road position. But we've got a lot to look forward to.
We have. Friday is a hugely complicated, challenging day, quite 120 kilometres, so around about 80, 90 miles. But the complication again for Elfyn is there's 2 loops of 3, but then there's an extra gravel stage at the end of the day, so he actually cleans 4 stages, which is difficult. It is going to be tricky. From what we've heard, these are the rockiest stage, not these, the ones down by Arganil are the rockiest, the roughest of the stages. So it's that thing, isn't it? You know, we talked to Oliver Solberg this morning. I flew out on the same flight as Gwyndaf Evans, Elfyn's father. And I said to Gwyndaf, you know, what do you do? How do you do this? Where you've got to kind of be mindful of the fact that you've got no service in the day.
That's the big point. No service in the middle of a really challenging day.
It's a tyre zone, so they can only change, they can only refit whatever they've got carrying in the car. And obviously they get new tyres. And Gwyndaf said, you know, you've just got to pick your pace and stick to it. And that's the point, isn't it? You know, you can be really cautious, but you can lose 30 seconds, half a minute, one and the same. Or a minute, you know, you can lose so much time just if you start to look for the rocks, and then you see every rock and you're trying to sort of feather the throttle a bit and go around the rocks. You've just got to get on with it and drive your rally.
That is sometimes the biggest conundrum and the biggest challenge facing the drivers, you know, because you can't drive around every rock.
You can't.
And what do? Do you go flat out? Big questions, particularly on the Friday here. And the last couple of years, David, we have seen plenty of drama on the Friday. Remember, I almost said Ogier, Loeb leading the event at the tyre zone, came out second pass on whatever the stage was called. I can't remember the opening stage.
It was a bit of a freak, that one, though, wasn't it? That was off the start line on tarmac and then hairpin left, and then a long right-hander, and the gravel was being kicked off.
But we just debated ad nauseum about what caused that, and really we never got to the bottom of it.
Yeah, we did. He said.
He just held on to he was holding on to the hybrid for a little bit too long.
Yeah, and it just stepped out onto that loose gravel, didn't it? But the loose gravel had come down from the corner above.
Correct.
It was very strange.
It was a strange one, but before that, the years previous to that, remember we saw Thierry Neuville having problems from the lead of the rally. There's always issues on the Friday. So for the driver who employs the clever, maybe slightly more cautious approach,
you can't
but you've got to avoid. Yes,
you can't because then Saturday, Sunday, it's flat out.
I'm with you. I am with you on this. I am kind of thinking though of our drivers at the front, so our Elfyn Evans and our Kalle Rovanperä.
Yeah.
What is their approach? For me on Friday, there's a real possibility we could see a Hyundai 1, 2, 3 at the end of play on Friday. We could easily have Neuville leading or Lappi leading, and Danny Sordo could very easily be making up the top 3. He's led this event many times on Friday with the road position advantage. Why aren't you seeing that? Why aren't you seeing it, David?
I can see that. I can see that in the first 2 stages last year. Looking back at the times last year, Rovanperä dropped 10 seconds or something in the first one. By the third stage, I can't remember the name of the third stage in the loop, he was quickest.
He wasn't that far behind. Yeah, you're right. And overall,
So, I'm not sure. I think in some ways, the drivers are going to be thinking so much about a championship because it is so tight.
Yeah.
Everybody's got so much to lose. You could, if somebody was, say, a Lappi or somebody like that, just get in and go for it. Just absolutely give it everything through the day. You can make a minute.
And he sets himself up. It's like, come and get me. Come and get me for the rest of the weekend.
But the trouble is, if you're Kalle, Elfyn, or you don't want to do that because dropping 30 points here, suddenly you go from being right in the championship fight to all the way back again.
Yeah, wow. That's a very, very interesting point, isn't it? What is Lappi's instruction this weekend? Lappi is the man that I think has to be given the instruction to push on for the win.
Of course.
Has to be.
And he won't need that. He wants a win. He's shown, after a steady start in Monty, pretty much every event, he's shown the pace that he could win. And I think we were talking, weren't we, in the car on the way up here, that we've had 7 different winners. Name them.
Okay. Meek, Latvala, Ogier, Rovanperä, Evans, Thierry, and Tanak.
Yes.
Ho, ho, ho!
And who could be the 8th?
Lappi.
Lappi.
If we're going to make it 8 winners in 8 years, it's got to be Lappi or
Lappi.
Sordo
Sordo
what
or
about
Taka,
Pierre-Louis Loubet?
Wait, Loubet, Taka.
I've made this mistake before, writing them off before an event.
A reasonable bit of attrition, I think, with the greatest of respect to them. There's some very, very quick drivers out there. But Lappi, for me, he could be the guy. He's the one that has the opportunity to say, right, this is it, I'm just going to do it. Everybody else will go, and they'll be really watching everybody else's pace. Is anybody making a move? It's almost like they're in the, what do you call a bike thing, the peloton, is it?
The peloton,
and is anybody going to make
Nobody wants to break free first, do they? They all want to kind of just keep their, what's the term, where they just want to keep their wick dry. Is that it?
Powder dry? Wick.
You were talking about the challenge of Friday here. 121 Ks over the stages without that lunchtime service. We then go into Saturday.
Tyre zone, lunchtime.
Without the lunchtime service, only a tyre zone, We then go into Saturday, David, 147 Ks. It's a chunky day on Saturday, a really chunky day. And again, stages that are challenging. And this is the great thing about this event. There's no predictability in it.
And you drive, we've driven pretty much all of these stages, Colt, and there is a beautiful flow to them until there's not. And then suddenly there's a rhythm change, and you get into that rhythm through your pace notes flow, everything's flowing, and then it's down to a first gear hairpin left or something, or there's a don't cut and a big rock, and something will just take your eye away. And it's having that ability to just move and change your kind of flow and keep to the rhythm, to adapt, exactly. And that it is so difficult for drivers to do.
So difficult. And do you know what I'm quite looking forward to seeing is just how the roads hold up, because it is astonishing. Anyone that's followed the ERC the last couple of years, they have the FAF Rally on these roads here. Almost without fail, it is absolutely atrocious with the weather, and you see the roads and they're cutting up so badly. We get here for the recce and the roads look really good. They've been well prepared over the last few weeks. But how good are they? They look good on the surface. But there's always something there, David. Hidden.
There is, but listen to George Donaldson. We talked about this on the podcast on Monday. George said these roads have been here for hundreds of years. Have they, do you think?
Yeah.
Does that look hundreds of years old?
Well,
they've been here a long time.
As long as the wind farms have been here, a lot of them.
They're 100-year-old wind farms.
Hundreds of years
No,
old.
they have. We know this stage has been here long before the wind farm came. And they're well-made roads. And you know, a lot of this area of northern Portugal was gravel roads. It was a big network of gravel roads through the sort of 50s, 60s, 70s. These stages have been here. So yeah, you're right. You know, they don't often get heavily graded because they don't really need to be. But there will be stuff in there that it will be pulled out, and you get to that point, don't you, where you're on the road. People want to generally not be anywhere near first, second, third, fourth. But as you get to sort of fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, you do start to get that bigger stuff pulled out. And time and again, you hear drivers say the rock was on the line. You think, really, was it? And then you watch two onboards before, nothing. Then the car before pulls something out. Then that car, it's bang on the line.
And then what do you do? And it's back to this point you were talking about. You know, you've made a decision about what to avoid, what not to avoid, and most of the time, I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah,
and,
you've got to just run over it.
Absolutely, and it'll be really interesting to see. Tanak is doing the most remarkable job. I asked him last night, look, you know, at the start of the year, where you're at now in the championship, did you ever imagine that you could actually be, when you'd driven the car in Monte and you knew how much work there was to do, did you think that 5 rounds in, 4 rounds in, you would be right there in terms of the championship? He said, well, if I'm being honest, probably not. He is doing the most remarkable job. Things are coming together nicely. The car was quick in shakedown again this morning, David. He's got a real chance here with his road position again on Friday.
Absolutely, he's got a chance. And he's talking, you know, he's doing that really good thing that Tanak can do, is talk himself out of any possible opportunity of winning because the car needs this, 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 and this. And then suddenly on Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, he's right there. You know, he's a very strategic, very tactical driver. He knows exactly what to say, and he'll say it. He'll use every trick in the book. I think we know that car's quick. It's all about whether they can fine-tune it now enough for him to win here. I think they can. I think what we're also seeing, we are seeing a Tanak factor here, that yes, M Sport is doing more for him to bring the car to him, but he's a world champion who has the ability to sort of meet the car halfway, if you like, and alter his driving style sufficiently that he can find a comfortable, quick pace where he's not completely comfortable.
I think that's a really good point. You know, we've heard an awful lot about Tanak saying this needs working on, that needs working on. He knows there's only certain elements that he can change, and he will have to. He will have to, perhaps, as you say, compromise a touch.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and to find that sweet spot. It's going to be fascinating, folks. It really is. David, a 1, 2, 3. Quickly, a 1, 2, 3.
A 1, 2, 3 would be from me. I would go with first. There's kind of part of me that wants Thierry to win.
Absolutely.
You know, I think we were all quite gutted when Thierry had his accident in Croatia. It'd be great to see Thierry win. It'd be great to see Hyundai win. So I'm going for Thierry win, and then I'm going with Tanak second and Elfyn Evans third. Oh,
almost the same as me. I am going for a Thierry win, Tanak second. I'm going for Lappi in third. Elliot, cameraman, 1, 2, 3. Simon Hughes is with us this weekend. Just shout so I can relay Simon. Very quickly, you don't have time to think. Simon Hughes, who's with us all weekend. Tanak, Evans, Rovanperä, and cameraman, same as me. There we go. I'll have to remember what I said. I said Neuville, Tanak, Lappi. Let us know your thoughts. No, you're not allowed to. Let us know your thoughts in the comments underneath, please. Top 3 reasons why would be great. Wonderful weekend ahead, David. I can't wait. Don't forget, folks, if you miss anything at all this weekend, go to dirtfish.com, drop-down menu, click on Live Centre, and we will have all the information you need. Little videos, little sound files, little reports, comment from David, myself, from the team back at base to keep you informed.
Pastel de nata reviews.
Pastel de nata, I can never remember. I just call them Portuguese tarts. Portuguese tarts. Everyone knows them. But if you're being posh, you can call them
Pastel de nata.
Pastel de nata, there we are. Yeah, if you want all that information, Dirtfish Live Centre, easy to find on the homepage. We're around all weekend covering all the action. Dirtfish.com, folks, stick with us for the rally to Portugal.